The latest from Kia is a people mover. The MPV segment remains nascent in India, and this car is once again hoping to expand it. And in true Kia style, the Korean car maker is expecting another hit with big volumes. That name is not new to buyers in many global markets, but with this fourth generation, it's still new to India. So the Carens has three new colors. There's the silver. I've got the moss brown with me. This is the turbo petrol, by the way. And Ameya has the turbo diesel with him, but you know what? That's the color I would have honestly preferred.
Yeah, I have the Carens with the Imperial Blue.
What? No, hold on. What did you just say?
Imperial Blue?
No, the other thing.
Carens?
No, that's not the name of the car. You know that.
Carens?
Carens.
All right.
Yes. You got lots of people calling it Carens. You got lots of people calling it Carens. Carens. Car Renaissance. Right. Remember, that's what they're going for.
Absolutely. So yes. So I have the Carens here with me. And
Carens.
the Carens here with me. And you know what? It's a big news for Kia India as well, because this is the fourth generation of the model, and this is the first time ever that it's going to be made in India for the world.
Well, we'll wait and see where, of course, it goes. The initial launch market and focus market remains India. Significant from a volumes point of view for Kia as well. And that's why we decided to split this up between the two of us. So as I said, I have the petrol, he has the diesel. Yours is the automatic as well, Ameya?
Yes, I have the diesel automatic with me.
Okay, so let's get going and get you all the details on the Carens.
Yes, Carens.
Okay, so what are you doing? Let's go.
Oh, sorry, bye.
The Carens is not an SUV, though it will take on some. Kia claims the car creates a new segment. To us, it is simply an MPV or multi-purpose vehicle. So let's begin with its styling. An LED taillight cluster, that design will stand out and tell you this is the Carens. But you know what? The whole styling on this car is a little distinct than what you saw on previous generations, which used to be in other markets, because those cars were very focused on being MPVs, and so the design was more akin to a station wagon at first and then a minivan later on. This car, well, it definitely has crossover kind of credentials when it comes to the look. Very SUV-ish styling elements that have been intentionally thrown in. The cladding on the wheel arches, most obvious, most distinct part of that, runs along the side. You've got roof rails, and the whole stance, even the ground clearance, it's a lot more upright, more SUV-like. Of course, that's going to work. It's a smart thing to do that, given where the buyer is in the market. Styling otherwise, of course, is also new. It gives you a look at Kia's new Opposites United design language. In front, the grille kind of disappears. Air intake moves down there because you've got this geometric piano black pattern up here, which you've seen on the Kia EV6 and other global new Kias. First time in India that we're seeing Opposites United. So that also means the heartbeat motif is gone. And on the DRL, which isn't standard, only on the upper variants, you have the star map pattern. Same pattern based on constellations on the tail light as well. Full LED cluster, again, only at the top end. Lots of chrome, and the chrome down here has a similar geometric pattern that will remind you of Kia India's other portfolio vehicles. So it's a nice little connect. You know it's a Kia straight away, but yet there's a newness to it. Something that will also shape and direct us to what's coming from Kia in the future also. Opposites United is the design language you will increasingly see from Kia from here on, including on the Seltos facelift next year. On the dimensions front, the Kia Carens is 4,540 millimeters long making it longer than the Maruti Suzuki Ertiga or XL6 and marginally so over the Hyundai Alcazar. And definitely it's much longer than the Seltos. It is 1800 millimeters wide, the same as its sibling, but marginally bigger than the rest. And the Carens is 1708 millimeters tall, giving it a good stance and ride height. The wheelbase is the most significant thing here at 2780 millimeters. That is class leading when you compare it to cars like the Alcazar, XL6 and even the Mahindra Marazzo and Toyota Innova. It also does well on ground clearance. Now let us look inside. New design language for the cabin, new materials and colors as well. First time we're seeing that from Kia, and that means again you can expect some of this in future Kias. So a little play of color. There's this blue and beige combination on the top end, the luxury plus. You've also got black and beige, and then you've got on the lower variants another black and beige option. So the idea is that you get something different. I'm not sure the blue really goes with this exterior moss brown, but there you have it. Lots of things to talk about when it comes to features. Ameya will run you through some of those, but I'll talk a little bit about the tech on board. I mean, you know, this whole panel is something new and different. You've got this tech pattern that's been printed into that piano black, but it also kind of makes this screen look nice and flush. I have to say though that the 10.25 inch screen does tend to look bigger on the Seltos or on the Sonet. It kind of looks a little small because of its layout. Virtual digital cluster as well, lots of information in there, stuff that you know Kia will give you. The screen of course offers you Kia Connect. It also gives you maps and it gives you smartphone connectivity. Again, that's something you're not surprised to hear, I'm sure. Wireless phone charging, even cooled cup holders. You got fragrance as an option. You can put in little ampules, and the climate control system, which is also here, will give you a fragrance in the cabin. You've got 64 ambient lighting color options. So really a lot going on when it comes to tech. We'll have a separate story on just the tech elements on our YouTube channel, something for you to look out for. But I'm not done talking about the techie stuff. There's something in the back I want to show you. So the thing you notice about the Carens, each of the 3 rows, you've got lots of USB charging points, USB-C points by the way. So in keeping with the times, they're moving up to just USB-C, but lots of points so that different people sitting in the car at different seats can all charge their phones. You'll have to have lots of cables of course in the car for each individual phone. AC control for the rear, yes, you've got a fan speed setting here, which is nice to have. The vents of course are roof mounted. And the thing I really like is something that's kind of grabbed my attention. The packaging on this very neat air purifier that's fitted into the back of the driver's seat. It's nice, it's compact, and it's got this little touch screen which lets you check out its functionality and the different modes of operation. It's also easy in terms of how you change its filters, etc. That's something that we'll cover in that tech video that I was talking about, but really nicely done and a good innovation, something that kind of sets this car apart. Of course, like the Sonet, this has virus protection too. Cooled cup holders in the front, at the back, can holders if you will, also cooled. There's basically an AC vent that directs straight onto those cans, keeps your drinks cool in the peak of summer. But is there space in that 3rd row? Let's have the self-proclaimed baby elephant in our team explain that.
Now it's typical, right, that they have put a fat and tall man in the 3rd seat to check out what it's about. I have decent amount of headroom. I am cramped for space here, of course, but it's not bad. And any adult will easily sit here. And that's basically also because of the increase in wheelbase, 2780 millimeters of wheelbase that it has. Now, even if there was a bench here, which is the 7-seater version, this of course is a 6. I wouldn't be cramped for space because I know for a fact that I can recline my seat to up to 33 degrees, which will give me a better posture to sit in. So I won't be pressed for space. And in fact, there's decent amount of features too, because you get your own C-type USB charger right here, and you get your air con vents right on top, and you get a light. What else do you want here? And you saw me get in very easily. It's the same way I can get out too very easily. So better ingress, egress. Well, I think this is decently comfortable.
Yes, I also checked out row 3, so you can see if it works for average-sized humans too. And yeah, the Carens does very well with its third row then. Surprised? We certainly were. With all the 3 rows up, there's 216 liters of luggage space that you get, which is decent. With the third row down, that's a generous 645 liters of boot space on offer. The second row also folds down fully flat, and then cargo space goes to a whopping 1164 liters. On features, as usual, Kia has you spoiled for choice.
Now, when it comes to Kia India products, we have come to expect a lot of options from the company, and the Carens is no different. You have wireless charging here, so really nice for your phone, and you get a lot of space to do whatever you want. You have cubby holes everywhere and decent amount of room as well up front. The ergonomics of the car are pretty decent as well, and you get decent under thigh support up front. Now you also get ventilated seats on the car, which is great. We love ventilated seats, of course, and in a climate like India, it is a much needed feature in the car. You also get a lot of features in the car, but again, for those, watch our tech review.
I kind of bullied my way into getting the turbo petrol because I was really excited that the Carens has this engine. I mean, remember the Alcazar didn't get it. And so I maybe built that up in my head a little bit too much. I expected this car to be a lot sportier than it's ended up being. Now, overall levels of refinement are not bad, but it's a very rev-happy engine. It makes a lot of noise and doesn't necessarily translate into performance. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to drop a couple of gears using the paddle shifts. And there you see, it does make a lot of noise. A lot of that filters into the cabin, which isn't great. But the performance is good, it's not great. Like the Seltos, there's another Petrol available. The 1.5 litre motor makes 114 bhp and only has a manual avatar. Neither Ameya nor I got to drive it, so let's see if we can get our hands on one later.
So the Carens gets a 1.5 litre diesel engine. Now this one churns out 113 bhp, which, well, according to us, is slightly underpowered. Yes, it is. It is slightly underpowered. But overall, the driving dynamics remain quite agile. However, we needed that initial burst of acceleration, which you don't get. All the turbocharged part just kicks in after 2000 RPM. And that's why there's that lacking when in terms of that initial acceleration, and you needed that. But other than that, that 6-speed automatic transmission, it's a torque converter, responds decently well to your inputs. Even the paddle shifters actually, they're pretty quick to respond. The diesel engine, however, is a bit noisy. Anything above 3500 RPM, and it is a little noisy. It does creep into the cabin as well, and it might hamper you as well. But It is extremely refined. No wonder it gives about more than 18 kilometers per liter as far as fuel economy goes. So the diesel engine is good, of course, and though we feel it is a bit underpowered, we really wished there was some more refinement that went into it.
The refinement though shines through in the way that the Carens rides. The great part though is that you get really nice ride quality. The handling's pretty good too, and the ride quality becomes important because the comfort I'm getting up here, also in the second and third row, is really what a lot of buyers would be looking for from the Carens, which is why I'm a little surprised that this particular variant isn't focused so much or as much as it should have been on the driving. The steering is quite nice. There are 3 drive modes, and you get Eco, Normal and Sport. Now the thing is that besides the differences in throttle response and engine revs, Kia says that the steering also kind of stiffens up a little bit in Sport. It does, but not a whole lot. I would have liked it to be a lot stiffer so that you get a little more confidence, especially when you're doing some high-speed cornering. On the whole, a nice satisfying experience, but not as sporty as I have liked. There's another area where Kia has had a strong focus with the Carens: safety. And you all know how much that means to Team CarAndBike as well. The thing I am really pleased about are the safety features. There's a whole bunch of them that have been packed in, and Kia says they will be standard across all variants. That's great news, and that includes the 6 airbags, by the way. Yes, indeed, 6 airbags are standard on the Carens, as are ABS or anti-lock braking, ESC or stability control, downhill brake control, disc brakes all round, tire pressure monitoring system, ISOFIX child seat anchors, and more. The list is a pretty exhaustive one. Kia also says that the Carens uses high-strength steel in its structure, so we hope for a robust crash performance rating too. Seems like the Carens is gunning for segment best on space, comfort, and safety then. On the whole, the Kia Carens is a well-rounded package. It comes across as premium, well-appointed, comfortable, and roomy. And the good looks will certainly only help its cause. It is not powerful or sporty, and so it lets you down on performance, which appears to be its Achilles heel. But I do expect Kia to go super aggressive on pricing, and that's because this is one car that will bring in volumes. Conventional wisdom says it will be priced in the 16 to 20 lakh range across its 3 engine types and 5 variants. But Kia could choose to go more aggressive if it really wants to kill the competition. And we will pit it against those rivals too once we have prices.